All right. Good morning, all. I think we're ready to start this week's installment of the long coffee break. Welcome to the August 15, 2024 long coffee break. It This week I have with me Brian Jennison is our guest from Valent. Valent is a manufacturer of HVAC equipment with a focus on properly treating outdoor air. And today, Brian is going to give us a brief overview of the new developments of Valent. Brian, take us away.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. So as Matt said, my name is Brian Jennison, Regional Sales Manager with Valent. So I'm the one behind the scenes helping along with any questions they have about Valent, and happy to be with you here today. So here's the agenda. Who is Valent? We'll start with introducing Valent. We'll talk about A2L refrigerants, air source heat pumps, energy recovery ventilators, and then finally we'll wrap it up with our DOAS product. So there's a lot of topics we want to hit on today, which means we'll go fast and we probably won't spend a ton of time on each, but just a little taste of each today. We'll start with who is Valent? And as a reminder, we're most known for being outdoor air experts. And we got our start back in the early 2000s building DOAS units, and that's how we started. We identified a market need and we grew from there. So we'll see on the next slide how much we've grown, but that's primarily what we're known for, is dealing with outside air. The next thing is dependable controls. At Valent, we offer pre-engineered sequences, and there's a lot of flexibility with those as well, a lot of different options that you can choose from in the selection tool. So we're very strong with doing package controls with our equipment. Most of the units we sell come with controls. The next one is reliable performance, and this is more of a broad topic, but it's covered by a lot of the design characteristics that we've designed intentionally to add quality to our equipment. So whether it's the casing, the components we choose, the way we assemble the products, the automation in our factories, all of those things contribute to reliable performance with our products. And then finally, the fourth pillar we call simple startups. And that's embodied by a lot of again, the quality assurance that we do. One of those differentiators for us is our end-of-line test. And every unit that we ship out the door gets tested for on average of 90 minutes. And not all of our competitors do that. So our idea is that if we start the unit up at the factory, that will make the field startup go much more smoothly. And so in a nutshell, those are the four keys to Valent. There's obviously a lot more things that make us unique, but those are the four highlights. This is our manufacturing footprint around the United States. We see we've got many different campuses there. And our headquarters is in Minneapolis, which is where I'm located. And depending on the product type, we've got factories in Minneapolis, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and then Oklahoma. And Tulsa, Oklahoma is our largest DOAS manufacturing facility there. And we just broke ground actually on a new campus in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we'll have to add one more state to that map soon. But I just like to show this slide because it shows that we're not just a small company, we're actually a rather large company with a big manufacturing footprint. And we've been building new factories quite rapidly the last few years. I think it's the last 4 or 5 years we've grown almost 20% each of those years, which is pretty significant growth for us. And with that comes a lot of challenges, but they're good challenges because we're a growing company. And that means our customers are choosing us more over our competitors each day. So that's a great story to tell for us. Okay, A2L refrigerants. This has been a hot topic lately. And as I'm sure you're aware, there's essentially two refrigerants in our market for our equipment type that manufacturers have settled on. That's 454B and R32. And so I'm sure you're all well versed in some of the differences, but essentially they're lower global warming potential refrigerants. And I get a lot of questions, which one is Valent going with? And we have decided to proceed with 454B. So not that one's better than the other, that's just what we've decided to go with. And so all units now shipping from Valent going forward will come with this new refrigerant. So the deadline actually was January 1st. So we're a little bit ahead of that deadline. But starting January 1st, all of us, including our competitors, will legally be required to ship units with 454B. So if you place an order with Valent today, this is what you'll get. And with that new refrigerant being slightly more flammable, there's some new safety precautions that we have to take. And this picture here is a leak detection sensor. And so we'll be providing these in our units that have refrigeration. And this is standard now with our Valent products. So this comes from the factory. And so we provide those sensors, and we also provide factory programmed safety sequences. So in the event of a leak detection, then depending on what's in the air stream, what components we have, we'll have safety mitigation sequences that will run. So comes from the factory. Don't have to worry about it in the field. It'll always be provided by Valent. Okay, air source heat pump. That's another hot topic as of late. And Valent offers air source heat pumps, of course. And I like to show this picture on the top. That's not a Valent unit, thank goodness, but it was a picture from the field, one of our competitors. I won't say who, but as you can see, they're going to have some issues there with that big ice block. So that's not a very effective heat pump. And I like to throw this caution up there is just be careful when you're modeling your cold climate conditions, because if the manufacturer you're considering using does not have a defrost sequence, that should be a big red flag, because defrost sequences are very important in cold climates. And it's always a good idea, especially if you're laying out equipment either in Denver or other places that have cold weather. It's a good idea to run your selections by your long representative just so they can get a second pair of eyes on it. And hopefully the manufacturer you're going with has a defrost sequence and also secondary heat. As we get those lockout temperatures lower and lower, secondary heat, it's not going to be required as much, but you're still going to need some kind of backup heat because you can really only pull so much heat out of cold air. And so at Valent, we offer both gas and electric secondary heat, either as a backup or a supplement to the heat pump. And then we also offer energy recovery. So this can actually help your air source heat pump be more efficient, of course, if you're recovering some of the energy that would otherwise just dump to the ambient, either through a wheel or a core. So this can be paired nicely with a heat pump, and we offer that in the same package. So we have an indoor coil, and that minimum entering air temperature that needs to hit that coil is 10 degrees. And so that tends to vary a little bit manufacturer to manufacturer, but all manufacturers have some kind of a cutoff there. And then our outdoor ambient lockout temperature is 0. So that means if it's 0 degrees or lower, the heat pump is going to lock out. It just won't operate. And then you'll have to rely on your secondary heat source during those times. Energy recovery ventilator. This is a new product for Valent, and so we're excited to show this off. We've actually only had it for our Valent reps for about a year now, and there's some pictures there on the right. Those are kind of the different cabinet styles and some different sizes. And I'll just give you an overview here. So with this ERV, we offer both the wheel and the core. And the wheel is more effective at about 70 to 85%, but it also has a higher leakage or cross-contamination rate. The core, conversely, is a little bit less effective, but it has less leakage and no moving parts, which some customers find to be an advantage in certain applications. So we don't say there's one that's better than the other. There's just pros and cons to each type, and we offer both at Valent. And then, of course, they can be installed indoor or outdoors. There's a couple outdoor units shown there on the top, and then the bottom unit there is an indoor unit. And so there's some flexibility in how you want to lay out the equipment. The airflow range is 150 to 6,000 CFM, so a pretty broad range of airflows. And of course, there's different cabinet sizes that go along with those airflows. And like I mentioned with air source heat pumps, defrost mode is critical. And so we also offer defrost modes with our energy recovery devices. And with this product, you can have a timed exhaust. You could have an electric preheat that's from the factory, and then modulating the wheel is a great option if you have a wheel. It just slows the wheel down for defrost. So even with a relatively simple product, you get a lot of flexibility in the design characteristics. So we're pretty excited about this product. I'll just highlight some advantages that we have that might set us apart from our competitors. And the first is, like I mentioned, energy recovery options, offering both the wheel and the core. Most of our competitors in this segment only offer one or the other. So this gives you a lot of flexibility. Price, we found we're very competitive price-wise, which adds a lot of great value. You know, our customers get a great product at a competitive price, which is always good. And then lead time, 4 to 5 weeks. That's very competitive in the market. And so we feel like these three together position this product very well and add a lot of value for our customers. Okay, we've reached the last topic for today, so thanks for hanging in there with me. But DOAS units are essentially what Valent is known most for, and it's what we again specialize in, outdoor air experts, right? So it makes sense that our DOAS unit is our bread and butter, if you will. We offer 4 cabinet sizes, as you can see there, and we go up to 18,000 CFM. On the cooling side, we offer up to 70 tons with package DX, up to 30 tons with our air source heat pump, and we also have a chilled water offering. And then on the heating side, gas, electric, hot water, steam, all the usual suspects, of course. And the neat thing about our DOAS units is all of our units are offered with or without energy recovery. And in many areas, energy recovery is required by code. And so this helps you meet those code requirements. It pairs great with high outside air products, right? If you're going to bring in a lot of outside air, that's a big load on your heating and cooling system. So energy recovery makes a lot of sense. One thing I'll say about our DOAS units is they don't always have to be used for 100% outside air. In fact, many of our units are used at some mixed air application. So whether it's 25% or 50% outside air, they can operate at full outside air, but a lot of times they're selected at partial outside air. And so that's an important distinction, I think, just to keep in mind as you lay out equipment, is just because it's only 50% outside air, that doesn't mean it's not a good fit for Valent. So we can handle the whole broad range of outside air. And with that, Matt, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you all for joining us here. I think we've just kind of hit on a couple of high-level topics here. If you have any questions or have any opportunities here, please get a hold of your long sales engineer. And one of us would be happy to get you going and consult on any of these Valent products. Thanks once again for joining us this week. Next week, please join us as Mike Jacobs and John Libby from Air2O present Air2O's approach to lithium-ion facility climate control solutions. Once again, thank you for joining us. Have a great week. Thank you all.